Welcome to Bullets Nation, the podcast by Bullets fans for Bullets fans. I'm your host, Tracy Malone, a member since we came back into the league 10 years ago. In sporting teams, players change, coaches change, and staff move on. We don't, Bullets fans, we're the constant. We've been here since the early days and we'll be here when the next banner goes up. This is our space to talk about our team at length. No 30-second hot takes. We're here for real hoops chat. We love this club, we argue, we cheer, we ride every run and we carry every loss. So settle in and suit up. If you're Bullets family, you're at home here. This is Bullets Nation. As always, let's tip it off today by welcoming my co-hosts, Scott Husband and Cameron Pawluck.
Hi, everyone.
Hello there.
So let's start with a little bit on our socials. I did put a Spotify poll up. Thanks to everyone for engaging. We had no, Brisbane will not beat Perth on Sunday. Tick, correct. YouTube, there's so much fantastic engagement on YouTube, which is why when we made the shirts that Cam designed, we put the YouTube QR code on the back because that's where we're getting the most engagement. And so keep it up, everyone. We absolutely love it. We get lots of comments in there and we answer all of them as soon as we can. We started Monday Madness on our socials. This is on Facebook and Instagram. Pick one player from Bullets history to drop into the current roster who changes everything. And we got some really cool ideas here. And there were some players that I will admit I had not heard of, which was great. So we had Dylan Boucher, Roger Smith. I'll go to the one. So these people got one comment and then I'll go to the higher ones. Roger Smith, one of the Brutons. They both got a mention. Yep. Kevin Freeman, Andre Moore, Ebby Eyre, Torrey Craig, the Hammer, Shane the Hammer Heel. We had 2 votes for Emery Atkinson, Derek Rucker, Steve Woodry, and Stephen Black. And the 2 players from Bullets history that will change everything, 3 votes each for Leroy Loggins and Bobby Brannan. How did you guys see that?
It's an interesting list.
Yeah, very interesting. You could easily make a case for any of those players to be added in, and you'd definitely be adding something that the current team really needs. I love the Bobby Brennan stuff. Good old Baywatch Bobby Brennan. There were a couple weird ones on there. The Kevin Freeman one, he was good. He had some issues, though. I was never a fan. I'd just go Leroy. He just gives you everything you need on both ends of the floor with the energy and the heart to boot. There was just no quit in him. He's Casey Prather, Torrey Craig, Mitch Norton, Smack, all rolled into one.
How tall is Leroy?
I thought he's 6'3" or 6'4". Some people say 6'5", but he's around 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
190 something centimeters.
I'm not sure, but he had a little bit of athleticism to him as well.
Yeah.
He could get up and throw it down on a good fast break. He would add exactly what this team needed in every department, which is why I went with him. I did like the Derek Rucker as well, just from a point guard perspective and facilitating and scoring position.
Yeah, I agree with you. I find it really hard to choose anyone else. And I love me a big man. And you would think Tracy will choose a big man. And I am not choosing a big man from the past. Yeah. And do you know why? Because we need someone to feed the big man the ball. And so Leroy would be my number one, but you make a really good case for Rucker. Yeah. And I think that those 2 would find a way to get Tyrell the ball and Holt the ball. So, yeah, I think we need that player right now who would change everything because you look at the pieces we've got and the pieces we're missing, and that's where I think we would go. Who would you choose, Scott, from the list or anyone else?
Yeah, it's hard to go past Leroy. Andre Moore for just the rim protection, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one we did was last week, Friday fan debate that we had on Friday. Who's been our most consistent player this season? This was a little bit of an easy one. I did say debate it, but is there really a debate? It was a resounding Casey Prather, and the notable mentions were Tyrell Harrison. There was a few in there for him, and even Tristan Devers got a mention. And I was like, true. He's been really consistent. He really has been.
Yeah, can't
with the
argue with
minutes he's been
Prather.
given.
Yeah, can't argue with Prather, really. Yeah, if it wasn't for that injury, he'd still be tearing it up right now, being our Mr. Consistent.
Yeah, if Casey was still playing, it'd be still like 20 something per game. Do like the mention of Tristan. Agree with the effort that he's put in. He's very much deserving of a mention. Yeah, and since Casey's got injured, admittedly it's a small sample size, but no one's really come close. I can see some folks have mentioned Ty, but it feels like other teams have had his measure.
Yeah. And he's consistent, but not consistently playing it to our expectations. So he's consistent. He's consistently getting his shots up. He's having an impact on the game, but not like Prather was. And
I think Ty would be the first to agree that he's not meeting expectations in the last several games.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe even this season. If you asked him how his season was going, yeah, he just hasn't found his groove, which is really frustrating. Shout out to Tyrell and Sam McDaniel for 150 games. How cool is that? They had their presentation at the home game on Sunday, which was awesome to watch, and congratulations to them both. That's no easy thing to do.
Yeah, well done to both of them, especially Ty, all 150 being for the Bullets. That's pretty good these days.
Very much. Well done to both Sam and Tyrell.
Yeah, we've watched Tyrell grow up. Okay, let's do a quick update on the Johnny Drama campaign. And I want to talk about how this panned out today and why some of us have lost faith in this organisation. And hopefully this will show you why that is. I'm going to go through this quickly, step by step, so you can judge for yourself if this makes sense. And first of all, I want you to all know that while I'm the one copping heat for leading this campaign, if it was only me wanting this, I would have got over it a very long time ago. You know, I'm an adult who can drop something if I'm in the minority. And on this subject, I know I'm not the minority. So I will continue to lead this campaign and I will continue to take the heat for that. And I will cheer when we, as a collective, have achieved our goals.
We've got your back.
Yeah, thank you. And I did notice in our supporters group, there were lots of people who had my back. I was like, oh, I'm not even going to comment anymore. And I was like, oh, look, I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Everyone jumped in. I was accused of even having a burner account. I was like, if only I could be bothered with having a burner account.
For real.
Yeah, hilarious. It's because of all of my life things that I do. That's one of my high priority things is to get a burner account and come in here and troll you.
Just shaking my head.
When I've got a podcast where I can openly speak and have openly spoken about what I have issues with, you're not going to see me post anonymous and you're not going to see me with a burner account. So many people wanted Johnny back. They posted in the Facebook groups, they came up to us at games and they asked for help and said, come on guys. And so we started a campaign. The CEO told us in the members bar that he tried to get Johnny back after we started the campaign and they couldn't come to an agreement. I found out that Johnny put a proposal in, same cost as last season. His costs did not change at all. And he was told without any negotiations or discussions at all that they wanted to go in another direction. So we challenged that idea. How could it be you couldn't come to an agreement when there was no discussion? We asked in the members bar, what would it take to get Johnny back? And Cam's mum, Judy, sitting beside me, there were loads of people in the room that day, said, should we start a petition? And Mal said, yes. And I said, would it work? I don't need extra work, people. I've got enough on my plate. So I'm like, if I'm going to start a petition, I actually want to know, is this going to work? And he said, yes, if you get more than 6 signatures. And then we started a petition. We got 246, 86, something. We got lots of signatures. We sent the email to the CEO, thanking him for the idea to start the petition. And we received a reply, which I put up in the supporters group. Although I appreciate the acknowledgement, I cannot take credit for this initiative, as I was of the understanding that the petition was raised by yourselves on a podcast, which is why I mentioned it in the members bar. And I was like, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Like, we were all in the room. Anyway, alongside the petition, still from the email we received, we've also received positive feedback from members expressing strong support for the current MCs. I'm aware the petition may include non-members and non-ticket purchasers, which I can confirm made those who are non-members very angry and unheard. So the faith was lost in that line alone for so many Bullet supporters who are not currently members, but who do attend many games. Back to the email reply, Johnny did an excellent job, and I fully acknowledge the genuine support that exists for him. Based on our own observation and member feedback, we will continue to monitor and review this area with an open mind. So to me, that said, not happening, see you all later, whatever, which is how people read it as well. Ultimately, we want the same outcome. The players are working incredibly hard, and right now the most impactful thing we can do is unite behind them and help them get this season back on track. So it's now our responsibility to get the season back on track. Right. I didn't put anything in the description when I posted the reply. We missed it because I'd sent it to a Mal email address and then corporate email address, and it kept coming back, user not there. So it all compiled, and I didn't see it until after we posted the podcast. I was like, oh my God, we got a reply. So we're sorry we didn't bring this to you, but we didn't see it. It's really that simple. The supporters group, there was absolute uproar. He said he's received phone calls and people coming up to him and emails. Apparently the Bullets organisation have received that in full support of the current MCs. And people asked him, I didn't ask him, people asked him, so how many of those people are there? Like 100? There are 100 people because we've got 280 signatures. So you're saying over 100 people. Like how many people are there? And there are a lot of people, which was really interesting, who challenged that there was even one. We had two supporters, Brisbane Bullets supporters, not Bullets Nation supporters, who said we need to find closure and get on with supporting our team. One of them called it an embarrassment that we were doing these things. We should be embarrassed and following on with our team. I can tell you the two people that liked that comment, which made me smile. Firstly, at no moment have any of us stopped supporting our team, nor stopped cheering for them. Not at a single game have we stopped cheering for our team nor supporting our team at all, not once, not even for a minute, even if it pains us to show up. Because we show up deflated. We still show up and we still cheer every single time. Secondly, we can hold space for both Johnny's return and Errol's return. I'm working on that too, and cheer for our team. They're not exclusive. It's not if you do one, then you've got to drop the other. We can absolutely do both. We're very clever, us humans. So that happened. And then just days after us receiving that email where I thought, all right, we're done here, and it went off in the supporters group, we had the members forum where we were told that they have now reached out to Johnny and had a conversation with Johnny. Johnny is interested in coming back. They're interested in him coming back, and they're talking about how that might happen. So my mind is boggled over how this has gone. How do you guys see it? Does this make any sense to you?
All I'll say is I'll believe it when I see it. Just waiting patiently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very confusing between the email and then what was said in the members forum. And yeah, I'm with Scott there. I'll believe it when it happens.
Yeah. I'm holding the vision. I've got all my Christmas present visions in my mind, and it's one of them that I'm holding. All I want for Christmas. I think it would be amazing. And we do. We await Johnny's return. And I don't think, even if our team starts winning, would a game day be the same if our team was winning and Johnny wasn't there and Errol weren't there? I don't think so. Do you think it would be the same, Cam? No, Scott?
No, because I don't think it's the same.
No. I don't think it's the same either. I think there's such a disconnect. It's not even funny. All right. We hinted at it. The members forum. We had one during the week, and people have been waiting for this podcast going, when's the podcast coming out? What happened in the members forum? I'm like, people, you got to get there. I'll tell you what happened, but you got to get yourselves there. First of all, what I really want to say is thank you to the club for having a members forum. It is an amazing thing. We have had them since the day we came back into the league, and at no time do I ever take for granted the fact that we have them, because they're amazing and I really appreciate them. They went through with this at a time when they could have hidden away. Absolute credit where it's due. If I was the CEO and the coach right then, I'd go, do we really want to run this members forum?
Yeah.
Because previously in another season, they had one organised, not with the coach or the CEO that's here now. It was meant to be GM CEO, I don't even know who was meant to be there, but they cancelled that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so massive kudos. They booked it, they went ahead with it, and they showed up for it.
Yep.
Amazing.
I agree.
Absolutely amazing. The CEO spoke first. They acknowledged we felt unheard. They talked about self-assessment. Apparently, people have been talking about self-assessment and how are they assessing themselves about getting better. We must get better. They said we were optimistic, as in the club was optimistic. We had a plan. We made a lot of moves in the off-season with the intention that they were going to come off, and they simply haven't. Their self-assessment is that they have fallen way short, and it's not good at all. So another massive tick for the club. We didn't get gaslit, thank God. Stu then came on and talked about how much it hurts. He really talked about how much it hurts. He spoke very much from the heart to not meet our expectations as passionate supporters and members. So they did speak often about, my God, you guys are passionate. So yeah, and we've had it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So come on. Yeah, we're over here. Stu actually gained supporters on that call. So when he came on and he started talking and he didn't give us the platitudes and he didn't give us the political speak, there may have been a Bullets Nation group chat running at the same time and it was going very fast and it was like, kudos. I may not want him as head coach, but gee, I really like him as a human. Well done.
Yeah.
So he actually got a lot of swag on that. He called this season a failure, thank God, for where we are now. And he said, we are now actively working to turn these things around. He believes we have a great attitude and a good effort, and the players have stuck together. Not sure if you watched a replay of last night, he'd totally agree with that. Maybe off the floor they do. Maybe off the court they do, and they've got that great cohesion. We don't see it on the court. He gave praise to each player for how they came into work each day. The way they come into work is excellent. And for us as well, I haven't negatively said anything about a player this season. I think they're all excellent. I don't think it's coming together. He said we have to win games at home. This was before Sunday's game.
Uh-huh.
Well, duh. Sorry.
And so then Mal came in and said again, how do they assess where they are today? They have fallen short. So we got similar things over and over, which is a little bit frustrating. I think we can fit a lot into an hour, and it seems there's a little bit of monologue that goes on in these things. So the CEO said, and he said this twice, okay? So this is where I'm like, oh, this is a point to listen to. They are not going to kick this season down the road when changes need to be made. We are going to lean into that. Mal has ultimate accountability, as does Stu, and the steps we are taking next are probably going to be the important ones for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a bit in about Stu and the way he handled himself in all of this as well. I know you said he did quite well. The fact that he wanted to go on with the forum after the hour.
Much to the staff's eyes. I could see every one of their bodies just go, what?
Yes, yeah. And Mel trying to shut it down. And he was very willing and even did answer a few extra questions after time. Does speak highly of him and really showed where he's at as a person. I thought that was really well done on his part.
Absolutely. The CEO then went on to say Jason Levian is a majority owner. He is the majority owner. He can assure everyone that he is not acting in the GM of basketball role. So our CEO is not acting in the GM of basketball role and is not a basketball expert, just in case anyone didn't know that. And in the States, we have Harge, who you are all familiar with. This is what the CEO said. We call him Director of Player Personnel. And then another gentleman who is part of the group that does a lot of the scouting for us. So in terms of GM function, we've got about 2 or 3 people within the ownership team that provide that support and IP. We have NBA caliber in there and some NBL nous as well. So that's the function and how that works. Clear as mud, people. Does everyone understand who is doing the expert basketball GM role there?
No.
I had to make notes and listen and just go, what?
Yeah.
What just happened?
I think all those functions maybe a GM does them at other clubs, but that doesn't mean that you can refer to them as functions that equate to something a GM might do if we had one, which we don't have.
Yep.
It's just trying to get my head around this, guys. Like, yeah, sorry,
Director of Player Personnel says scout.
yeah.
Says who does the contract? We didn't get a rundown of what the GM of basketball even is and who exactly is doing those positions. It was just like, there's them, and I'm quoting this verbatim, and then the other gentleman who is part of the group that does a lot of the scouting for us.
So does that mean, Trace, that there is another scout, just haven't said who that is, which is
So
fine.
later
If
on,
that's
Stu
someone.
did say we have scouts in Australia as well. So I'm assuming there's a few scouts out there, which I would expect in every organisation. The scouts are going out. That does not correspond to GM of basketball in my
Yeah,
understanding.
it's a separate role.
Yeah.
And who's everyone reporting to? It has to be ownership then.
And even at
Yep.
other clubs, I keep going back to like somewhere at the Phoenix where they have Simon Mitchell as the GM of basketball operations. And I would expect that they have scouts outside of Melbourne, because they're based in South Melbourne, that they would have
Yeah.
scouts in other states and the United States, not just the GM who does that kind of function.
That's right. And the scout reports back to the GM, and the GM says, all right, this is the team we're going to put together. Go after that one. That's who we need. That's what we need. Let's do that. And then the GM would engage deeply in whatever that is, or the head coach would go and get them over the line. It was Mike Wells went and spent 3 days in New Zealand talking to Flynn Cameron. And he said he thinks it's the best, what did he call it? The best scouting he's ever done, or the best proposal he'd ever done, or anything like that, something like that. He was really proud of himself for what he achieved there and how he did that. But he certainly didn't do it alone. They had a whole system there. A few episodes ago, when we looked at how much money teams are spending, Adelaide has always been big spenders. So, yeah, they would have money behind them to throw at him as well. And look how that's paying off for them now. Very well. So that was that. And then they got to members' questions. They said they had 54 members' questions, but they were all repeats. So they tried to condense them down, and which they did, because there was really only a couple of things they went over. The first one was the question that I asked. Why are the ownership not engaged? We were told by the CEO, Jason, and I and Stu talk daily, sometimes twice a day, late at night. Ben and the CEO talk every day. There is heavy engagement in terms of owners speaking to management. Why are they not at the forums? CEO said that was on him. He has not asked the owners to engage with the members or fans or anyone other than management, it seems.
So I did ask on one of the NBL Australian fans Facebook groups if other fans from clubs have heard from their owners and how often. I only got one response because I think it got held up in the being approved to be posted. One response from a 36ers fan, and they said that they only get something at the start of the season and the end of the season, and that's pretty much it. But even that would be great to get.
Look, all clubs are different. No two clubs are the same, but I just like the 36ers, for example, you have someone like Grant Kelly. The camera often pans to him and he's quite visible. I'm not saying that we need anyone who is local to be visible like Grant Kelly. Not
On the telly.
slightest.
We don't need them visible on the
We don't
TV.
need camera panning to someone at our games. And I appreciate a club has a local owner who'd prefer to keep a lower profile, and other owners who have a greater involvement have more engagement. Engagement is key. And you look at someone like Romy Chowdhury at the Phoenix, he almost engages too much. He's passing comment on socials about other clubs' comments and that. But he has a presence.
And his fans would love that.
Yeah. It
His
comes back
fans
to
would
engagement.
absolutely love that. Yeah, absolutely. And so my biggest question is, why on earth would you buy into a club, attend every game, and then only speak to management and players and ignore the fans and the members? How is this a good move for any club?
Can I just
as a
say that
whole?
when you're talking about fans and members, like there's stakeholders here, there's owners, there's management, The players, they're stakeholders. So are the fans and members. They're key stakeholders in this organisation.
Absolutely. And we're being ignored by the owners. And I don't know if that's because we have a CEO gatekeeper or because they're actually choosing not to be there. And this just made lots of the fans angry. And we've been calling out so openly about Aussie ownership, and our Aussie owner has continued to ignore the fans and members. But he did tell me he listens to the podcast. So we are awaiting your presence. And not just now. So we've made this clear over the years. We have complained about ownership pretty consistently for about 10 seasons now because we haven't seen any difference in our club, and we know it starts at the top. And if we get great ownership, then we can really actually build something.
Yeah, yeah. And with what's happened so far this season, it's important for them to show up now and have that presence and face the ire of the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at least we'll have connection.
Yeah.
Look at Stu Lash. The man showed up and he earned respect. And everyone just went, we'll be grateful to see you go. And we think you're a great guy. Thank you for what you tried to do. See you later.
Yeah.
There's no ire there anymore. It took all of that anger out of it because he actually showed up and spoke to us. So for me, why are the owners not taking initiative? Why are they actively choosing? Unless they're saying, I want to talk to the members, and the CEO is saying, do not engage with the members. I can't imagine that's happening. And if it is, we have bigger problems than we thought. But I don't understand how they could actively not want to engage with us.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big one. Then we were asked about, somebody asked about the slow starts, the lack of defense and the low rating, defensive rating, and the lack of cohesion that we see in the players. And so Stu answered this one. What we have been doing is not up to standard in any of those areas. And then he went through the whole setup: food, sleep, travel, strength and conditioning. He acknowledged the changing lineup, but believed it was all up here. He said he believes it was in the mind. Every player is working extensively with a sports psychologist, and we have to be stronger and more prepared for the fight, is what he said. And we've really unpacked this over these last weeks. So at no time do we think they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs with blinkers on going, we're just going to keep doing the things. They're openly discussing this at length. This is when Stephen Bird came in. Professor Stephen Bird joined this one, and he went through a few things. I don't have much to say on this, and I'm not going to go through everything that he said because this man is a leader in his field. And we have had so many injuries and so many seasons gone by, and we've questioned our strength and conditioning and things like that. This season, I'm like, we're not questioning the high performance team or strength and conditioning. Not for a single moment, with all of the injuries that we've had, do I believe any of our injuries or our game performance are due to the lack of ability in the players, the ability or professionalism from our high performance unit. It's been a massive upgrade of what I've seen to happen just in these last couple of seasons. And it's a massive tick for the club. So I'm not going to go into depth in what he said. He just said, we do all the things. I'm like, I believe you, Stephen. I don't believe that is the problem. He did speak about Casey's knee directly, which was great because it helped us to understand it. Casey's fixation failed. He has had a new fixation put in there. He's ready to go. And then thankfully the CEO said, can you tell us what fixation is? And I'm like, yeah, that would be nice. Because the professionals can get caught in their professional speak and forget that we don't know this stuff. So he had a previous patella fracture. And what they did was they had wire and screws to hold that patella back in place, and it gave way. They took that hardware out and they replaced that hardware. So there's new screws and new wire holding that patella in place. And they said he will return ready to go. They have no doubt whatsoever about his ability to return. So there was no further injury in anything to the patella or anything else in his knee in there. So that was great. Game day presentation. Somebody asked about that then. The CEO went on to say they are one of the highest spending clubs on game day presentations. I saw your face expression there, Cam. That was what I thought. I did wonder if this was meant to impress us somehow, because I'm like, so you spent more money and apparently two people are satisfied with it, so they say. And artists are being forced out due to their proposals, their financials being dropped considerably. So word on the street is that somebody put a proposal in that was same as last season as well. And they said, we can come back, but we're going to make you this offer. And it was so low that they couldn't come back. They did to this person what they did to Sam back in the day, Sammy Mack. So he then admitted that the game day run out, not as good as last year. Nothing has been flowing. He believes it's because we haven't been winning. So apparently the game day is bad because the team is not winning, which is interesting. Once again, we have a lot of experience in our team not winning. One could say we're professionals at our team not winning because we've been the constant in our team not winning. Everything else has changed, but we are still here. And we are also experts in supporting our team when they don't win much. And yet we still turned up and cheered, and game days have always felt like a home and like a basketball family, and that we were happy to go along even though we knew we were probably going to lose. The changes that were made took that away from us. Yep. So I disagree completely, which is why I asked earlier, if we started winning, would game day feel any better? We'd have a win, but we wouldn't be engaging. We wouldn't feel as connected to the club again because of those reasons. We would love it if our team would win, but we would still absolutely miss them. Without being in this organisation for 10 years, I don't think anyone can possibly understand what this hype crew and those people meant to us, minus the couple of people who support your decision, whose names are not anywhere on any petition. You're going to have to trust our word on that. We've been here for 10 years. We're saying it loudly. We're not going to stop saying it. So you're going to have to trust us on that. We desperately want change in this organisation. We desperately need change in this organisation, but changing things that are and have been working for 10 years and were actually very precious to us is bringing this response, and it will continue to bring this response every single time. You now know that we're not people who are going to sit back and stay quiet and just clap and cheer for our team. Yep. When you take things that we actually enjoy. So the GM of operations has been recently appointed. If you are listening, please get Johnny and Errol back and keep them. Just keep them. And build upon that foundation. They were a foundation that we had to stand upon, and now they're gone. If you remove our foundation like that again, you're going to have the same response, and people are just going to stop turning up.
Yep.
Other things we talked about. Nothing new. Nothing that we haven't heard before. I was like, we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Lots of things about we need to get into the city. Something about women's team again, blah, blah, blah. It was like, yep, this is all the lip service stuff because you can't deliver it right now anyway. I will say that the Bullets are not the only developers who have put their proposal forward for the stadium in Brisbane for the Olympics. So they may not even get it. And what's plan B? So then he did state that the CEO has been in this role and his plan was that by the third year we would be firing right now. And he feels gutted that he hasn't been able to deliver that. Then it was open to questions for people on the call. And this is where it got very interesting. When it was open to question from those on the call, Matthew asked a question and it was about team and turnover of players and imports. And Stu admitted to Matthew that they did not nail the imports this year. He said, we didn't get it right. He felt that they got the locals right, and it was the imports that they really failed on this year. And then Ben came on, and Ben asked Stu, what kind of a coach are you? And let me tell you, everyone got a little bit uncomfortable in their seats at that moment. We're like, okay, it's going to be that kind of members forum. Let's go. Now, Ben emailed me after the forum as he listens to the podcast. Shout out to Ben. So he and his wife are new members for the Bullets, and his wife is the basketballer of the family. They wanted a family thing that they could all do together because they were all in different directions. And so they said, let's do the Bullets and basketball. He coaches another sport at state level. And he really wanted to say, Tracy, I did not ask that question to be rude. He could see on the faces of the people that it was like, what? I wasn't being rude. What he was actually looking to do was to help Stu out. He said it's something that he'd wondered and he wasn't seeing himself. And so I was a massive advocate. I was like, I've been asking this all season. I want them to stamp their identity onto the league. And I haven't seen the Bullets identity come out at all. So I was like, this is such a great question. He asked the question so that Stu had an opportunity to answer and give us insight into him and his methods. He was actually trying to help Stu out by this one. He wanted us all to have a clear picture of who he was as a coach and hopefully help things. So Stu answered, and he said it begins with a relationship with the players. When you understand each player individually, then you bring the group together. That's the foundation. And then we empower our leadership group of players to be able to hold others accountable, whether it be from the players to the staff. And then they know they have the trust in me and I can hold them accountable and be demanding without being demeaning. He said the relationships, the trust and the respect must come first. If you don't have the ability to have hard conversations with guys, then the X's and O's don't matter. So that was a good response. I think it was the right response. I'm not sure if anyone feels that's happened. And then Mort came on, so brave Mort, and asked you the elephant in the room question. And I find out that Mort has been an assistant coach to the Canadian women's team. He's a little bit of a sleeping one in there when we were asking who's going to step up and head coach and having fun in our Bullets Nation supporters group. He never said, guess what I've done? So we see you now, Mort. You're on the list. He said, I've looked at your coaching experience and there isn't much. And he did say, this is going to sound mean and I'm trying for it not to be mean. And I don't mean it to be mean, but I'm going to ask the question. There isn't much for an NBL 1 coach. Not particularly great. I know you do a lot of consultation with your assistants. During a game, have you thought of putting one of your assistants on the sidelines and you do more of the management of the team? Because that's where a coach proves their worth. Mort said, if you don't know how to coach a game, so he listened to the part where he said relationships, trust, and he said, if you don't know how to coach a game, then relationship doesn't matter, especially at a professional level. And you yourself have said that all of the players are great. So have you thought of doing that, switching it up and putting one of the assistant coaches, which you look to a lot during games anyway? Whew, Mort won the internet that day.
Yep.
Yeah. And really put in a way that's, these are just the facts. This is what I'm seeing in front of me. And again, nobody has a personal grievance against Stu or thinks he's not a great human. Stu's response was, right now, we as an organisation are reviewing everything. I have a deep care and love for this club, and I am willing to do whatever needs to be done so this club can be in a position to be successful. And these are conversations that are actively happening right now. Cue the chat going crazy. I cannot get into the granular details right now, but I understand the question and why you're asking it and respect the fact that you are asking it and you're not hiding behind how you feel. And those conversations are active right now. Everything is on the table internally right now. And that's where he, again, earned a lot of kudos because we're like, great. You can see it. We can see it. Nobody's ignoring it. Great. So that was the big one. That was like the jaw-dropping moment. And I think Stu handled it. And that's where the clickbait people got that Stu Lash is going to be stepping down from.
Yeah.
Not sure how they got that, by the way.
No.
Not sure who leaked that little one because we don't want it leaked out there. We want it on our podcast.
Yeah.
It's not really happening anytime soon, though, by the looks of it, is it?
I don't know. I think they're in talks. I think there's a lot of things that I'm seeing in the media where I'm like, oh, if I'm reading the zeitgeist, I reckon it is. But we're going to talk about this a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because there was an article by the same people who said, oh, look, who wants to come back and coach in the NBL?
Yeah.
Definitely open to be in the NBL. I was like, oh,
That's a whole other conversation.
We're being eased in, and we're going to have that at the end of the podcast. Stay with us. Daryl then asked, can we attract the right talent to Brisbane? Another great question. Every member, God, we ask great questions. This is why I love this podcast, because it brings us closer to these people who are just great brains. Stu said, I think we can. facilities, high performance. We look after the players and the partners, and the base is here to attract them. So what he did say, I think there's one other club that is close to our high performance centre, but nobody else has I'm not sure. I don't remember if he said one other club has it or nobody has a facility with 24-hour access where everything and everyone is in the one building. They have to train here and do weights there and match other people's times, whereas they can run their trainings whenever they want on whatever day they want. So they have full ownership over that. So that was great. Yeah, thoughts. So that was what happened in the members forum. It was a good one.
It was very good.
It's all very interesting, especially Mort's question.
Yeah, and the response.
Ben's as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not running with their blinkers on going, I'll just make it work. We'll try this and we'll make it work. They're actually having these big, difficult conversations consistently.
Yeah.
So kudos to them for that.
It was all very interesting. And like I said, I thought Stu handled himself really well. It's good to know that they're looking at these things. That's giving us a little bit of confidence to maybe they are going to make the changes sooner rather than later. So I think having that sort of confidence with them that, yeah, as you said, they're not running with their blinkers on was great to hear from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we just need to see the change with our eyes. And we are all awaiting the announcement. And the CEO has had 3 years to build upon this and get this right. And I'm wondering, because he said in the members forum, don't lose faith. I was like, might be a little bit late now. Do you guys have faith that he's the person to keep leading this club due to the direction he keeps taking the club in over his time here so far? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So we're coming up on nearly 3 years he's been at the helm. And I just need to be convinced that he can bring more than what he's already brought. There's going to be like another couple of years of more of the same of I just keep hearing like the spin.
So at the moment you're unconvinced and you need to be convinced. Is that what I'm hearing?
I am. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have faith in terms of the on-court direction and or the general game day experience stuff and things like that. I think if he were to continue, we definitely need to see that GM of basketball in place to help guide him through the basketball side of things. And that could include that game day experience. I don't think that's necessarily what the GM of basketball should be focusing on. You might have someone else looking after that.
That was the GM they just appointed.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure
GM of operations. I read the title.
Okay.
And he's in charge of game day operations, which is why there was a change, which we'll talk about in a sec.
Okay. Because I thought they were also sponsorships and so forth as well.
Yep. Commercial as well.
Yeah,
so it sounds like commercial operations is that.
Yeah. And commercial operations, so commercial operations and commercial and operations.
Yeah. So I think if you could have so I think if you could have that GM of basketball alongside that new GM of operations, running things more and then allowing him to focus on those big picture things like the WNBL team and securing the Brisbane Arena development, and then him just having oversight of letting those two positions run everything as they should be doing, then I think he can continue working quite well. I think he could do that okay. But with the way things are going at the moment, I don't have faith, especially from the basketball side of things.
Yeah. And when they do make those moves into WNBL, I will be screaming at the top of my lungs if there is not a female GM of basketball put in first to lead that campaign.
Yeah.
We love men. We do not need men to run a women's team. All right, game day runouts. We were told there was going to be a change in the members forum. They said there will be change. You will see the change. We have changed things. How did you guys see it? You're both at the game.
The only change that I saw was at the very start when they were doing the player introductions, and they brought back having Boom out on the floor with the dancers, which I always quite enjoyed because they get the flames going, and I always thought that was quite good, and that was definitely missing from that whole experience. So that to me was the only difference that I really noticed. Maybe a few more shirts being thrown out as well.
Didn't notice the video had changed completely?
No, because I was
And the
probably
music
focused.
changed
I was,
completely.
well,
Yeah.
actually, I did notice the music. I didn't notice the video because
Yeah,
with
the video
my,
changed completely.
yeah,
We're
with
not
my
watching guys
rubbish,
tie up shoelaces and run around Brisbane anymore.
yeah, with my rubbish eyes, I'm focused on one thing and one thing at a time.
You
So
can only
yes,
do one thing well. We
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
And that's
Uh,
human, not just you.
so yes, and then yeah, the shirts being thrown out, there was more in other sections. My section that I sit in actually got shirts thrown out quite a few times, which doesn't really happen very often or hasn't happened very often this season. So those were the differences that I noticed.
So it's missing Johnny, but it was better than the last time I was at a game.
Yeah. So that's all I saw as a difference as well. Is it better? Yeah. So if it was a 2 out of 10, it's now a 3 out of 10. That's all. It's not, oh, wow, that was so amazingly different. I feel so good about it all now. There's just a lack of connection because of the family that's not there. Again, I said it before, I don't think they understand how connected we are. The people I sit near, they go to Eat Street markets and they've always got to go up and see Johnny because Johnny's like a superstar for the kids, and the kids are always going up there going, Johnny, we love you. When do we see you back? And they've seen him at corporate events and they always go up and say hi to Johnny. People don't understand how connected everyone was to him and to Errol. I would always love seeing them walk around and I would chat to them. But yeah, I thought it was better. I didn't think the music was better. I thought the video was better, definitely better. I thought having dancers was better.
Yeah.
There you go. I've always said dancers themselves are great. I'm not loving the choreography. I just think Errol was superior in that. All right. Believe it or not, there were 2 basketball games that happened this week, and our team played in them both, and we are finally going to talk about them. Illawarra Hawks on Wednesday night. Brisbane Bullets played them in Illawarra. 3,481 people turned out for that game. The score was 100-85. We lost, just in case you weren't watching. We had 20 of us in our group chat, Bullets Nation group chat. If you want to join, hit us up. We're growing with predictions. And the women won the night. We won the night. I had 98-85 and it was 100-85, which was awesome. Courtney had Illawarra by 16 and Susan had Illawarra by 15. We won that one. How did you see it, Cam?
Yeah, first quarter, our best first quarter for the season, I think. And then the Hawks came out in that second quarter, they adjusted, and we just didn't have an answer for it. Even though we managed to keep in touch for the majority of the game, the ending just showed where our coaching is really at, and they were outcoached, plain and simple.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this isn't new. So I say it all the time when it's, oh, they're looking good. I'm like, there's the timeout.
Yeah.
Timeout. I've noticed it in so many games. They look great. And I think here goes the game at that moment. And it's really disappointing.
Yeah. We had Terry starting to look good, finding his feet. Certainly doesn't have the prettiest of jump shots. You've got to give him credit because he just kept putting it up and they finally started to fall for him. So full credit to him for just trusting himself there. And JFL had a good first game back. Seems like he's on some minutes restrictions just from what I could tell from the way he played. And once again, it looks like my Christmas wish isn't going to happen. So we had another injury to Dakota.
Yeah. I spoke with Cash from memberships up in the members bar yesterday, Sunday's game, and she said, how are you seeing this one? I said, we're at the point where I just hope nobody gets injured. Can you just spare the players? Win, loss, who cares? Just can the players stop getting hurt because this is their livelihood. She said that Dakota Mathias hurt his shoulders quite a few plays before he actually came off. He said he was in the air and JaVale McGee's knee connected with his shoulder from behind. I would not like to be in that moment. He said it felt a bit sore, but he kept going. And then he went later to put his arm out to do something and his shoulder locked. Everything locked in place. And he went, oh, that's no good. And that's why he walked straight off the court.
Yeah. We spoke to Cash as well at the game, and I believe she is doing a cleanse of the High Performance Center today, doing a cleansing ceremony, I believe, to try and see if they can get rid of the bad karma and energy that seems to be around the team with all of these injuries.
Smoke it up. I love a good sage bath. Because when the game was happening and they're like, Dakota's not coming back, and they're like, he's at hospital, I was like, ah, shit. And they said x-rays. So I'm like, that means broken. Because having an x-ray can only be bone. So I was like, oh my God, what has happened? And he did. He fractured a little something in there. She did say what it was. The positives, I'm just imagining Cash walking through with doing the saging of the High Performance Center. I do know people who can do more than that. Just if you need contacts, that's my wheelhouse, people. My positives for that game were JFL and Dakota. So before he went off and got injured, I actually thought Dakota was doing great things. And they brought great energy. They really did. And I saw them step up as leaders in those moments. Terry Taylor, he's meant to take shots. That is the import's job. They need to be getting those shots up. So I was happy to see him get them. I was like, they'll fall eventually.
Yeah.
Let's look at some stats. Illawarra made 38 from 77 field goal attempts. Bullets were 33 from 72. Not that much of a difference there. 3-point line, Illawarra were 5 from 28. Bullets are 5 from 26. Not so bad. Rebounding, they out-rebounded us by 11, which is where you start to see the big disparities. 10 offensive, 36 defensive. For Illawarra Bullets, we had 6 offensive, 29 defensive. And the turnovers, they had 13 and we had 14. I was looking, just going, that doesn't say really 15 points to me, but I guess it was second chance points that made it happen. And then I looked at the plus minus out of interest. We do not live and die by this, but Dakota Mathias was a +4 and he was the only one in a plus, and then Jacob Holt was a -1, and the rest were just well below the minus line. And I think the biggest frustration for me, because I consistently go to look at Tyrell's, especially plus minus, because 150 games for 9 seasons straight, he was always in the plus column, and he was a minimum +12 player, which is why they kept signing him, even though people were like, why have you got him? I'm like, he's impacting the game, people. Just understand the big man game, and that's what the coaches kept saying consistently. And this year, he is consistently in the minus, and I'm so frustrated. Not at him, I'm frustrated for him, because I don't believe that he is being coached in a way that brings the best out in him.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, then the press conference. It happened. And it was interesting. It was same kind of head coach talk. We must be better. Same things we hear. But when talking about Smack, Stu Lash talked about how important he was, and the big thing that concerned me and had the red flags raised was I lean on him a lot. That's too reversed for me. Would Dean Vickerman be leaning on Smack? I don't like it. Because if he's leaning on Smack, then who's Smack leaning on? Yep. Who's got Smack's back? If the players are expected to hold the staff up and the coaching staff up, it's out of order for me, and I don't like it.
Trace, I think the thing that you've touched on there is that Dean Vickerman doesn't lean on Shea Illy the way Stu leans on Smack. That's the difference.
Yeah. And it felt like leaning on him was more than just on the court. I lean on him to be the best defensive player. It just felt like more than that. So I didn't love that part. And then we had another game. So we headed out to Boondall on Sunday and we played Perth. We played Thursday night and then we played Sunday. And our opponents in Perth played Friday night. And they turned around 36 hours later and flew all the way across the country from Perth to Brisbane. And they beat us 86-62. The crowd for the Sunday afternoon game was a nice and healthy 5,167 people. We've talked about game day presentation before and what happened at the start. I'm going to get my knickers in a knot right now because this really gets my goat. On Friday night in Perth, Perth had 2 overtime games happening before them, both games. It seems to be Perth likes to be delayed for some reason. So while they were waiting over in Perth, they put the overtime game up on the Jumbotron so the whole crowd could watch it.
Yeah.
And when I saw that Sydney and Melbourne were going into overtime, I hoped that we would have the same. And then I had a little bit of chuckle going, come on, Tracy, this is the Bullets.
Yeah.
And the problem with the BEC, I was sitting there trying to refresh my phone and then I was trying to watch the game, and something happens to the internet on phones as soon as you walk into the BSC. The internet seems to die in that building for some reason. And so I couldn't watch it on my phone. But I had photos of the Perth players. Perth went over to the corner on the sideline. I'm like, what are they doing standing there? I'm like, oh, that's where the NBL screens are. So they're watching the game.
Yeah.
And then the Bullets crew had it
Oh,
up on their laptops. And so the Bullets players were all over at their bench watching it. And we're just sitting there going, oh, we were watching the crowd. So we're having shots of the crowd go around, trying to stay upbeat. And GM of operations and whatever else you're called, please listen. We have been so disconnected and disengaged from the game of basketball by the crew at every point along this journey. Because early in this game, before we even speak about the game itself, early in the game, there was a coach's challenge from John Riley. And what happens again? I sat there with my hands out going, new GM of operations, I'm expecting somebody has flagged this. Some stupid activation, some stupid T-shirt throw. And Adam couldn't even get a word in. The team is on the court. They're trying to start the game. The activation's still going. Adam's trying to say, coach's challenge, unsuccessful. Nobody cared. There was barely a roar from the crowd because we were so disconnected from it all. We need to see the replays if you want us to engage with the basketball.
Are we there for the game or not? Seriously.
Like, we love the game day presentation, but not over the basketball. It's meant to complement the basketball. It's not meant to take over the
100%.
basketball. So do better. Do better. It really isn't good enough. The only thing to do in a coach's challenge timeout is to put the replays on the Jumbotron. That's it. And let us watch them. That is it.
Yeah,
Nothing else
job.
happens.
Yeah, I agree. I find it so annoying. We don't know what's going on. And we know that there are a lot more out there that feel the same as us. They all want to see the challenges. Are they worried we might boo the refs because they stuffed up? We're already booing the refs when they stuff up, so it doesn't matter. Other teams...
And we are not Adelaide. Have you heard Adelaide boo the refs? Woo,
exactly.
And other players.
Yeah.
Man,
which are nice.
We're tame.
Yeah, other teams don't seem to have an issue with showing it. So I don't know why they can't do it. And they could have given us that OT game for United and Kings. Like you said, you couldn't get internet. I went to Disney and tried to get it playing. I was just on the NBL app trying to refresh. That was about as good as I could get. So yeah, please bring that in for us. It'd be so much better.
And if you want to know how to run an incredible game day, go and watch that Adelaide game. They were on point. Whoever the operations person was needs a medal because they were booing every time. Who was the player that they were booing? They were booing the opposition player, whoever it was. And every time they put it on ice, the crowd would go wild and cheer. So they had this whole amazing interaction going on, and they had 10,000 people in the building completely engaged, watching the game, watching the Jumbotron, and you didn't have to throw flippin' T-shirts out to get a cheer from the crowd. They
if it was
ran
against United, I would go out on a limb and say maybe they were booing CG.
No, it wasn't CG. It was somebody who had a big foul. Yeah, somebody who had a foul and then they were complaining about it.
Okay,
and yada, yada. So in this game, let's get to the game. The biggest thing I noticed, other than Smack's fouls, which we'll get to, is that we had 5 turnovers with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
It was just sloppy care with the ball all game.
Yep.
The passing was horrid. No real attempt to look after it at all. It's just
100%.
Yeah,
disgraceful.
It was pretty ordinary. Yeah. And Sam McDaniel, he had 2 quick fouls. And so he was subbed out. His body language concerned me. His body language with those fouls. They weren't great fouls. I was like, oh, they're sloppy
By
fouls.
his
mate.
standards,
What's
you mean, Trace?
going on here? Absolutely. He's the best elite defender we've seen in a very long time, and those fouls were ordinary. And then he was subbed out. And then he was brought back in the first quarter, which I would not have done. I am not a head coach, but I would not brought him back in that first quarter at all, with 1:30 to go. And he straight away got another foul.
I
He
agree.
was subbed out for Tristan Divas, and Divas had been on there for 2 minutes. And this sub baffled me.
Yeah, I agree. It just made no sense at all to bring him back on with those 2 fouls with 1:30 to go. Just once again, the subs are not making sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And so my eyes from where I sit pretty close, not in Mort's seats, I sit pretty close though. And somebody messaged me through the Bullets Nation podcast and said, your eyes might be better and be able to see it from where you are in your seat. Is Terry Taylor's shirt spelt correctly? And the answer is no. Taylor was on the back of his shirt. Who is it who had that one job?
I didn't see it until I got home because obviously I can't see much. And so, yes, I saw it when I got home and I was just shaking my head.
It's all through the supporter group posts in socials. People are putting pictures in the comments.
Mm.
Yeah.
Attention to detail, folks. It's important.
Yeah. Nice way to make him feel like he's part of the team. Yeah.
And show the professionalism of the organisation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought Taylor and Holt were the only real standouts this game for me. The more I see of Holt, the more I like. His dunk was one of, if really the only positive foot to take out of that game. That was a grown man move and dunk. He caught a body. I liked it. And once again,
and it was over a hand. He didn't just, there was a hand on that ball and he put it through the hand and dunked over it. It was very impressive.
Grown man move.
Very much.
And then, once again, Terry Taylor just came out and did his thing. I thought he's one that if he keeps playing like that, he's going to be that consistent player. I can see him replacing Casey in that role.
Yeah, he's hoping that he finds some consistency and he's finding some rhythm. And I like the effort that he brings, the energy, and he crashes the boards. I really like that.
Yeah, and I can see why they brought him in now. At the start, I was like, can't see it yet. But you keep saying it. And if you've said it, you must have seen it, which is like for like with Casey Prather. And so I started to see it. I was like, all right, I see what we're going for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought JFL looked out of sorts this game, but we didn't really get him the ball too much early on. I didn't really get him any sort of looks or anything. And then there just seemed to be a disconnect there between him and Ty late in the game with some of the passes. At least I thought they were passes. I don't think they were attempted floaters. To me, they looked like they were passes to Ty to try and get up and alley-oop type of thing. And I don't know whether Ty was not really ready for them or just they weren't in the right spot for Ty. So there was a bit of issue there with JFL.
Yeah, I noticed a big change within him in this game. And that's the beautiful thing about being at home games live. His movement wasn't great. He was unaware of subs. Nordo was subbed out. I don't know who was subbed in. JFL I think he was already on the floor. And Holt was screaming at him, saying, what play are we running? He didn't realise he had been put into the point position and he didn't realise that he was meant to make a call offensively. I was like, oh my goodness, it really is that bad, isn't it? He looked disengaged compared to Wednesday night's game and those first 2 games I saw him this season. So I saw a massive shift in him.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of having him run the point. I know when we did the starting 5 thing, someone had mentioned starting him in that point guard role. I know he played that role in the G League, only having him back in his second game. I know it was only probably spot minutes, but I don't think he would have been that right option in that because clearly not fully back in and connected with everything. I get why they were playing him in that role, because we're down another body that could play that point guard position. I just felt like he wasn't really prepared for it. If they're going to run him in that spot more often, it's going to take a few games to get him settled in, understanding the subs, making sure that he's aware of what's going on out there.
And why would you choose that when you've got Divas and Norton?
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe they're trying not to lean on Divas as much now. I don't know. I would say, I know. I would say I'd probably play Divas more at that point guard position and leave JFL to play in that 2 or 3 spot.
Yep.
And then Dukas just needs to stop arguing with the refs. He's done this a few times now. And I think this is his 2nd or 3rd technical foul he's copped for having a go at them. Just stop chirping back at them. Take your foul, keep playing.
Take your line.
If they're not calling anything on the other end, let your coaches do the talking to them, or have a chat with them in a civil manner at the next break. Go up and be like, hey, why are you not calling this down here? I'm getting smacked about. This is what I would tell my under 14s when I was coaching them all the time. You just got to play through those moments. Keep your head in the game. I'll deal with the refs in the break. You don't have to worry about it. The moment you start chirping at the refs, they're just going to stop calling any fouls down the other end when you get fouled. And that's exactly what happened. He copped a smack in the face and they didn't call it.
Yeah, I've said this about Dukas before too. He's a bit too fiery in the wrong way. I like a bit of fire, but not in that way. I like Jacob Holt fire. Jacob Holt kind of fire is the way to really positively put that intensity and fire into a game, and he does it a little bit too outwardly at the refs. And that first foul that he got, he was arguing with the ref over the foul. I'm like, dude, I could see it was a foul from here. It was a foul.
Yeah.
And I was just yelling at that moment, sub, get him off.
Yeah.
Do not put up with this. And to his credit, Stu Lash subbed him off in that moment.
Yeah.
When he did get hit in the face, that's where I was like, oh no, now you've handled this one the opposite way and did it all wrong. Stu Lash got a bench tech during a timeout. It was about Dukas's eye. And so he wasn't even coaching. Vandy was running the timeout and coaching. Stu Lash is having a go at the refs and getting himself a bench tech. And it's like, they can't change the call.
Yeah.
How does getting the tech help anything?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Here we are saying Dukas needs to move on and our coach is not moving on. He's not role modelling the thing that we need the players to do and asking the players to do. I just really felt Lash was focusing on all of the wrong things at the wrong time.
Yeah, you do that in breaks, like your quarters and so forth, not during timeouts. Or if it's during a timeout, one of your assistants go and talks to the ref in that timeout.
And I reckon it would come across much more potently had DMAC just gone over and said, hey, mate. And do you know who did that when they were injured? Was Mitch Norton.
Yeah.
There would be a timeout when Nordo was injured and he would just go and find the refs. I'd watch him just going, geez, Nordo, GM of basketball. Come on, man, let's go. Still on the court, didn't leave the court yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would just wander over and he'd have a chat. Yeah. You don't have to have a go at the refs. You just go, mate, can you just come and have a look at his eye? So this happened. I know he's a bit chirpy, but it doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to get calls.
Yeah.
Not that hard.
Yeah, with Dukas, I genuinely feel that an experienced coach would be able to rein him in and just, keep a tighter leash on him as far as just managing that emotion, which it's not easy. Yeah. But something I noticed, I think it was like 3/4 time. Yeah, so Vandy's talking to some players about something. I couldn't see Stu if he was talking to anyone, to be honest, but I looked over at John Riley. He's got the clipboard here. He's gesturing with the pen, and everyone around him is paying attention to him and what he's saying. Like, he's gesticulating, look like the clipboard, and he's waving his hands around. So there's a coach who is coaching.
And leading his players. And he has the full attention of his players. They are locked in, they are buying. And Perth did not play a great game, let's be honest. But still, they got
They
the
could
job
have
done.
beaten us by more than 30 if they put their minds to it, to be honest. To me, it was a very stark contrast in like, who's in charge. Yeah. Where does the buck stop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great question. Let's look at some stats. So the Bullets were 23 from 66 in the field, and Perth were 32 from 78. From the three-point line, Bullets were 5 from 20 attempts. Perth were 11 from 37 attempts. Rebounds were pretty consistently even, offensive 14 and defensive 29 for the Bullets, and Perth were offensive 15 and defensive 34. And we had the 16 turnovers to Perth 11. It was our turnovers, there's so many of them were in that first half. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the number of them, it was the timing of them
Yeah.
as well. They were just at the wrong times that they would turn that ball over.
And we certainly did our normal thing of the redemption game, and we played Henschel into form.
Yep.
Didn't he have himself a game? And so did
Enough.
Wagstaff. He had himself a game as well. So well done to them for the Bullets playing them back into form. So the only plus minus plus was Divas. So he was a +2 with 11 minutes, and everyone else was in the minus. You really know how bad it is when even the commentators, including Ariana Prather, were having a go at the team. No cohesion, no chemistry, arguing in timeouts or talking over each other. There was a moment, was it in the fourth quarter or the third quarter, where we actually started fighting back and we got to within 14?
Yep.
And there was
I
this
think it
moment
was
where it was
early
like,
in the fourth quarter.
it's
my
early in the
recollection.
fourth quarter, yeah, we got close, and then those making the impact got subbed out.
Yeah.
Go sit on the bench, and then it just took off again. So I was consistently disappointed.
Those
And
analytics again.
yeah, and when you're looking, all the commentators were speaking directly to the players and the team. And at no point did they speak about the coaching. I think they're just tired of speaking about the coaching, and they're like, maybe if we have a go at the players, they'll make something happen. And while you can always go home as a player and take a really good hard look in the mirror, I am at the point where I actually feel sorry for the players. And in both games this week, I saw players as a team that were playing to the level of the coaches that were coaching them.
Yeah.
If Dean Vickerman or Trevor Gleeson, hint, wanting to come back to the NBL, openly said it this week, would like to end in the NBL, Trevor Gleeson, had this exact lineup, would they be playing like this? And nothing you can say will convince me that this is on the players anymore.
No, I agree.
Yeah, me neither.
Definitely comes down to our coaching staff. And so I thought this might have been an unpopular opinion that I'm going to raise now, but it might not be as unpopular now as things are getting worse. I think come end of season, it's also time to not just move on from Stu, because I still can't see that happening. I know we're all wishing. The pessimist in me says it's not going to happen until the end of season. Once we move on from Stu, I think we need to look at moving on from our two assistant coaches as well, both Vandy and DMAC. I think they're decent people. I think they've done a great job previously in their previous roles. I think it's not worked here in Brisbane for them. Vandy's been in his role as assistant coach now for, I think this is his 5th season with us. Nothing's changed on our offense or our scouts. We're still failing in those areas. Defensively, we're still one of the worst teams in the league. DMAC's now been with us. This is his 3rd season. We're still consistently poor defensively. So I'm not seeing the changes. So why do we just keep continuing with the same thing and expecting different results?
And they were the reason that Stu Lash was appointed as head coach.
Yeah.
So because of the expert assistant coaches that we have, That is their biggest fear as an organisation, apparently. Mal Watts spoke about that openly.
It was
The
part of
CEO
the
spoke about that
rationale.
openly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was one of their main rationales was that they didn't want Vandy or DMAC to leave, and so they needed a head coach who would keep them in their roles. And maybe that was what backed them out of Paul Hanare, because he would have been saying,
It's that and
I bring in my
leadership.
coaching staff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, I genuinely don't care who the assistant coaches are. I want a head coach, Trevor Gleeson, to come in and choose his assistant coaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he chooses Vandy and DMAC, then I'll get behind Vandy and DMAC. But it needs to be Trevor Gleeson or any other coach who's appointed's job.
Yeah.
Someone that
The
credentials.
organisation does not get a say anymore.
Yeah.
They have shown us consistently that they have made bad decisions. I want a head coach to make the decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy if Stu was to be moved on now. I'm happy for Vandy and DMAC to stay as our assistant coaches for the rest of the
Agreed.
season.
You don't want
I've
a
got-
big swipe
No,
right now.
I've got no issue with that. I think those two work quite well with the players. So I think they've got that connection with the players. I don't think there's a disconnect with those two. I think the disconnect is with the head coach. So I definitely keep them at least till the end of the season. And then, yes, new head coach in and let them decide where to go. But I did say at the start of the season when we let Shula go and we were going to be bringing in a new head coach with experience, I had said back then that I think those two needed to go back then.
Yeah, we had that conversation, didn't we,
Yeah.
Cam? And that was
Yeah.
when it was an unpopular opinion, because we were like, clean sweep,
Yep.
let's go. And it didn't happen. So we're like, oh, maybe they know something that we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I'm starting to see all the comments and I'm going, okay, it's not as unpopular as I originally thought it was.
Yeah, they've had their time. They've had their
Yeah.
time, and they haven't shown that they are able to lay the foundation for that change. So we actually have another game this week. We are playing Southeast Melbourne Phoenix in Southeast Melbourne on Saturday, the 20th of December. Predictions for that one, guys? I'm saying Southeast Melbourne by 26 points.
Okay.
I don't know
That's-
scores yet. I'll get to that later, but I'm going SEM 26.
I can't see us winning. I've got to go by 30. It hurts to
Yep.
say by 30. I really want the team to come out and prove me 100% wrong and give them a good whack, but I think Phoenix by 30.
We're always very open to be wrong.
Yep.
We're all adults here. What do you reckon, Scott? What's your prediction?
Oh, you guys are so pessimistic. Phoenix won't beat us by that many. They'll beat us by 22. That's me being glass half full.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
We'll peg back the lead a bit, but yeah. Oh,
Hey,
yeah,
there were
that's
a
where
few
it's
people
all
when
packed,
we,
you know.
yeah, we did a couple of predictions for the home game that it's not traditionally what we do, but there were a few in there that were like, Bullets are going to get up on this one. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, good for you. And it was based on the fact that their bodies would be tired. But yeah, they played a terrible game and still beat us.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, nah. Let's get into it, shall we? All right. Yeah, nah. Are the Bullets actually playing better basketball than the scoreline suggests, or are we just gaslighting ourselves now?
No, they are not playing better basketball than the scoreline suggests. In
Yep.
fact, but yesterday's score, it flattered us.
Yeah. I agree. We're just gaslighting ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, nah. Is the effort there, but the execution so broken it barely matters?
Yeah, the execution is so broken.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I see effort. I see a disconnect in cohesion and things like that, but the effort comes in and then it just deflates because nothing seems to be working.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. Are we watching a team that knows what it wants to do but can't do it under pressure?
I think they have some idea of what they're trying to do, like the shots going up and that kind of thing, but the shots aren't going in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they know what they want to do.
They
It's
can't do
just
it
not
under pressure.
working. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I'm a yeah on that one. Yeah, nah. Are the rotations helping anyone build rhythm, or is it still basketball musical chairs?
Basketball musical chairs is just about the best description I've heard when you consider we go on a run and then subs are made. So
Yeah,
it seems pretty apt to me.
I like that phrase. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's definitely that.
Yeah.
Play the
Yeah,
music,
nah.
circus
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, add that in. Yeah, nah. Is the team mentally fragile right now, or just exhausted and short on confidence?
They're
Think
running on
so.
fumes.
Yeah,
Of course they're exhausted, yeah.
Yeah.
Smell of an
absolutely
oily rag.
exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see as well that it's the guys that are freshly in that seem to have the energy, whereas the others that have been there all season, they're just like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, nah. Are we seeing enough leadership on court when momentum turns, or does everyone go quiet at once?
There's no lack of leadership when Nordo's on the court. It's just when he takes a spell, who is the floor general.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The moment that Nordo's gone, and with Smack in his foul trouble not being out there, I don't know who's the vocal one
Yeah.
because Ty's pretty quiet.
Yeah, and he's not that kind of leader, and that leadership needs to come from. You look at what Holt's able to do, but from their position, it's hard to lead because they're not the floor generals. So we really need that from the other end of the court.
Particularly in offense. Comes from the backcourt.
Yeah, nah. At this point in the season, is development the real goal now, whether the club admits it or not?
Yeah. Yes.
Did you guys hear Chris Anstey on NBL now recently? He was surprised that we brought in someone like Taylor, and he said, "Oh, play the young guys." And I thought, that's fine, but you still need some scoring punch, and you still need energy, and that's what Taylor can bring. And so I was...
Yeah, and lucky we did, because then Matthias went down. We'd have one import.
Yeah, and I'm always interested in what Anstey has to say. I find him insightful.
But he's not always right.
Most of the time. Yeah, but you can still disagree with him, but find him interesting with what he says.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, there we go, Bullets fans. Another episode under the belt. Thank you so much. We have so many amazing fans, and we're so appreciative of you all. I had people coming up to me saying, when are you releasing? When are you releasing? And there was a Bullet staff member who came up to me and said, when are you releasing? Tonight? And I was like, no, it will not be tonight. It will be tomorrow night. And because we're recording this on the Monday. So thank you for being passionate supporters of this podcast.
Thanks to all the listeners, especially the ones that were saying, we need a pod now. We can. So thanks, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. We had, as soon as the members forum finished, they were like, when's the podcast coming up? And then Sunday, it's like, when's the podcast coming up? There was always, I need it now. So yeah, thanks for your enthusiasm. It makes this labor of love a lot easier to do.
Certainly does.
We are here for this ride, and we will stay here, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Bullets Nation podcast.
Nation, we're strong and loud. Bullets Nation, we're strong and loud.